Well, welcome everybody. I'm trying this out. This is the Groovy podcast, season 5, episode 2, I think, which tracks out as overall episode number 82. My name is Ken Cousin. I'm podcasting from Marlborough, Connecticut. I'm going to be joined eventually by Sergio Del Amo Caballero, from somewhere in Spain. I'm not exactly sure where exactly. Sergio, as many people in the Groovy community know, is an employee of OCI, of Object Computing, and he is one of the major players in the Micronaut project, as well as several others. He just tweeted to tell me he'll be joining in a minute. Now, if I can just figure out how to add him. So clearly, I'm not great at this. I'm going to see what I can do, but I wanted to make it possible for other people to be involved. So I just don't know if it's going to be easy enough for me to edit this to add him as an individual. If I can figure out how to do that, I will. If not, I may end this and start it as a Zoom call and then go live and upload it later. But I just wanted to give it at least a little try here and see if there was any possibility that I could add someone later. We don't have anybody active in the chat at the moment, which is probably not surprising. It's not like we did any marketing for any of this at any rate. But if you do happen to see this and want to jump on, then of course you're welcome to do so. So I just saw that I got a notification that we are live. Let me cut that off because I don't want to. Sorry, I don't want to wind up overwriting that myself. Looking to see if I've gotten anything else directly from him. Yes, I got just the message that he'll be joining at any moment. So let me tell you what we're going to be talking about today. The show notes for episode 82 for season 5, episode 2 are online in the usual place. And that usual place would be a GitHub repository. So the GitHub repository is under the organization Groovy-podcast, and it's under the account Groovy Podcast, all one word. So if you go to github.com/groovy-podcast/Groovy Podcast, then that's everything. And you have the URL there. The specific show notes we're under is the episode 82 one. So at ep-82.ascii.doc right there would actually have the value itself. So, I do have an email for Sergio. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's going to affect anything on how I'm able to let him in, but we'll add that to the podcast notes and everything. So I did send that to him earlier. Okay, so looks like we have several viewers at the moment, which is, welcome. Good to see you here. And again, feel free to type something in the chat box. I am able to keep an eye on that. Just to have to figure out how to promote a newcomer to presenter, and I may not know how to do that. As I say, it's going to be a little dicey there. If not, then we'll do it next time. I'll make sure that we may lose some interactivity that way, but we will be able to live stream it. I guess I could use a tool like OBS too, and I haven't. This already makes the fan on my laptop go nuts. So if I added in OBS with the virtual mechanism there, that I'm not sure what that's going to do as well. But again, I'll look into it. Okay, now what we're going to talk about are the normal things, like, for example, the major releases that have come out since our last podcast. Now, I'm hoping that Sergio will be able to join us and talk more about Micronaut, of course. Micronaut has a 2-series release, and they released the first milestone of version 3. So milestone 3 of Micronaut came out, let's see, in my show notes here. I have it listed. I'm trying to see where the date was on that. And that was announced on June 2nd. So that just came out a couple of weeks ago. And there's a lot of nice inversion and control improvements, IOC improvements, qualifier annotations, factory beans, several other things. But again, I'll have hopefully have Sergio talk more about that because he's really the expert there. The big release, however, oh, he's able to watch, but he didn't know how to enter. Yeah, which I was afraid of. And I want to be able to promote somebody that way. And I don't see an obvious way to do it because all I see, unfortunately, is the number of people. It says there are like 5 people or more watching. I don't know how to add him inside the live stream itself. It's got to be a way to do this. You would think. I mean, I could hit the edit button, but I'm not sure that's going to help anything. Live chat. No, that's not helping either. Yeah, I don't see an obvious way to do this. So let's see. How should we handle this? Maybe what I'll do is I'll talk about some of this stuff now. I'll give some basics, and then I will I'll close out this one, and Sergio and I will set up a Zoom call or something, and then I will upload that later. So again, we'll lose the interactivity part of it, but at least we will be able to, get the 2 of us together on here. If you're wondering where Baruch is doing the European thing and taking a long vacation. So I'm not exactly sure where he is. He sent me a picture, and it was gorgeous, but I didn't actually ask him where he is. So I don't know the details there, but he's not available. He's gone for, much of the summer, and we didn't want to wait any longer. It's already been too long since our last podcast. So I asked Sergio if he'd be willing to join me. And of course, Sergio and I have a bit of a history. He's, I guess the term that you'd use for him a bit is a bit of a gadfly. He likes to give us a hard time about how long it's been since we've had a podcast and things like that. And I didn't plan to invite him on the podcast and then make it impossible for him to join, although now that I think about it, that was really well done. That's terrible. No, I didn't plan that at all. So as I say, let me cover some of the basic stuff, and then I'll end this, and I'll restart it with a call with Sergio, and then we will upload it a little bit later in the day. So I was hoping to do this with the Google Live approach, but I don't see anything, any mechanism that allows me to add another person unless I perhaps connected it to live somehow. I don't know how Baruch does it. I mean, he obviously connects everything together, but then I think he sends me a link otherwise. I don't think there's an easy way. You would think Google would know how to do this. Yeah, okay. So Sergio did send me a message. I'm not getting anything in the chat on the actual YouTube studio thing, that's telling me we're live there. But Sergio is sending me some stuff on Twitter, which is the easiest way to do it, obviously. Okay, so let me at least mention a few things that are here. Let's see, where do I have the links here? So one of the things that is in the show notes that, again, I'll have Sergio talk about when we get him to join, is that Grails is now part of a foundation. Now, the Grails Foundation was announced, let's see, where do I have that in the show notes here? The foundation was announced last October. So, I mean, I think we mentioned it last time, but we didn't really talk about it. And it's a not-for-profit organization that exists to support and continue to advance the open source Grails framework, etc. So I don't know how that's going. It'll be interesting to see if Sergio has anything to say about it. The foundation's technical leadership, of course, has the people involved that you'd expect, like Jeff Brown. Always lists himself as Jeff Scott Brown, but I've always known him as Jeff Brown. At any rate, Jeff Brown's involved, and Graham Roche, of course. Graham has been quite active, even in the Groovy and Grails and Micronaut communities, even since he's gone to Oracle. I mean, I've noticed he's done some presentations involving Micronaut to Oracle people and stuff. That's got to be a good thing. Puneet Bell, of course, is is the OCI person who is very heavily involved in Grails, of course, and Micronaut as well. And David Estes, I don't know him as well. Oh, that's co-founder and vice president of engineering at Morpheus Data, creator of the Grails Asset Pipeline plugin, one of the most used plugins of all. And James Klee as well is very heavily involved in the technical side there. So that's good. Don't do a monologue. Yeah, so, Sergio's giving me a hard time because, of course, that's kind of his job, to be honest. I need somebody to keep me honest there. I will say one thing, and we're going to talk about this a lot once I restart and get him involved, is the big release, of course, that we do have to talk about is Spock 2 is out, finally. So Spock 2 is available. The testing framework, which has been reformulated and restructured to work with JUnit 5 now, has been released relatively recently, and I'm glad to see that. Okay, I think let's see what else is in there. There are a handful of other releases and things. And, speaking of Spock, Trisha G has put together a really nice tutorial on doing Spock and IntelliJ IDEA. And she's got a full video on YouTube, and everything has been updated to Spock 2 as well. So we'll talk about all that stuff. Why don't I see if I can end this right now, and then I will send him a Zoom link, and then we will join. I'll get him in here together. So if you're watching this and the overall podcast is only about 11 minutes, well, isn't that a welcome change? Isn't that nice that at least we had it going there? Okay, so thank you, everybody. Good to see you, and glad to see you virtually, I suppose. And we will do this again in a moment. So we'll wait for part 2 coming a little bit later today. So see you shortly.